Hello, welcome. Today we'll be showcasing the CoolTrade Strategy Wizard, and I'm going to be explaining a variety of the features that make up this incredible system. So, currently we're looking at tab 1, which is the preferences tab of the auto trader, and this is where you set the number of shares you trade, the number of symbols your auto trader will purchase at any given time. So here it's set at 10. It's only gonna hold 10 different positions as far as this strategy is concerned. You also set the times of day that your auto trader trades. So it only opens positions between 7 and 12:30. Only adds between 7:30 and 12:30, and begins closing from 6:30 when the market opens till 12:58, which is roughly 2 minutes before the market closes. So you see, there's a lot of cool functionality here. I don't start trading right when the market opens because I want to see a clear market trend before I start opening positions. So I don't start till 7. The market's been open for 30 minutes. A trend is developed, and my auto trader is not going to enter in any positions as things are choppy and unpredictable for that trading day. And down here you see it begins closing at 6:30. Well, this strategy holds positions overnight. It's a long-term strategy. So if you know a lot about the market, you notice that most of the time the big moves take place during after-hours trading. And if you look at your auto trader a lot after it's been running for a while, you'll see positions close first thing in the morning because these huge gains occurred. So just to make sure you lock in that profit, you want to make sure that you're able to close positions as early as possible, and that's why that's set at 6:30. So a couple other features here. If this is a day trading strategy, you could click right here, close all positions at this time. And CoolTrade has a profit maximization feature. So even if a stock has reached its profit goals, and we'll go over those a little further through this tutorial, it's going to attempt to take more money off the table as the stock climbs higher. So, however, though, if you want to make sure you close that position out at a certain time, you'd click right here. And then some people like to close out all positions that are profitable by a certain amount, at least as far as dollars and cents are concerned. And you can set that right here, and that can be as little as $1 or hundreds of dollars. It just really depends. So CoolTrade also has some pretty cool functionality here in the different ways you can trade. You can trade in either a fixed number of shares. This strategy trades 100 with a max of 500. So depending on how these stocks move, this will add to your existing positions up to 5 times per stock symbol. You can also trade as a fixed dollar amount and as a percentage of your bankroll. And what CoolTrade does, it actually trades in 100 share lots. So when you're trading as a percentage of your bankroll, it isn't exact because it has to trade in 100 share lots. But if you consider that a limitation, maybe that's a slight limitation for some of us, but it makes it a lot easier to work with these numbers, and from a risk management standpoint, working with those even numbers works out quite well. So right here is our watch list, and what the watch list in CoolTrade does, it narrows the market down to 50 symbols or less. The U.S. market is over 8,000 stocks, and for CoolTrade to look at all these different rules, for 8,000 stocks, it's just cranking out data, cranking through data the entire day. It's doing it second by second, and it wouldn't be that efficient. So when it narrows it down to 50 stocks or less, it makes your auto trader run quite a bit more efficiently. And with this watch list, you can trade just the Amex, just the NYSE, or maybe the Amex and the NYSE, or all three. You can trade only specific sectors Perhaps you only want to trade really large cap stocks. You can set it just to trade the Nasdaq 100 or the Dow 30. Maybe you don't like the prospects of the healthcare or the financial industry. Well, you can unclick those from your strategy. And you can also add specific symbols to your portfolio that you don't care about. You don't care about the watch list rules. All you care about, you watch these symbols quite a bit, and the open position rules make sense with these symbols regardless of the watch list rules. So that's as simple as just clicking a symbol. So you want to add Google, for example, type it in, click verify symbol right there, no big deal. So the watch list, it looks at historical data, price, volume, moving averages, low prices over specific periods of time, days since lows, number of days a low hasn't changed, highest price during previous 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, etc. And I'm just going to scroll through it a little quicker because there's quite a bit of indicators here. Consecutive days up, consecutive days down. And basically, when you create these rules, it's close price 1 day ago in comparison to the close price maybe 20 days ago, or 5 days ago versus 100 days ago. So a rule would be, for example, close price 1 day ago is less than it's 10% less than close price 50 days ago. And if that rule is in effect, that rule passes, that means, if it passes, that's when it would meet the watch list criteria. So basically all these rules here in the watch list have to pass to enter the watch list. And then we go over to the open position rules. And the open position rules are very similar to the watch list rules, except they also include intraday data. Okay, here we go. Because you're running a little slow right now. When you mess with that watch list sometimes, and the numbers go from that 50 or so, it's supposed to the size it's supposed to be, and you're clicking off certain things and clicking on certain things, you're going to add way more stocks to the watch list, which will slow it up when you're creating a strategy, but it's no big deal when you're actually trading. CoolTrade runs second by second, tick by tick. So with the open position rules, it looks at both historical and intraday data. And there are hundreds of different indicators. I'm just going to scroll through them real quick because it's rather cumbersome to explain all of this, and it'll be over most people's heads. But the beauty of CoolTrade is it's simple. Once you get a strategy set up, it's as simple as just having your computer on. CoolTrade will automatically start up in the morning, trade the market all day, opening positions, closing positions, adding to positions, taking profit off the table, and then at the end of the day, it's gonna shut down, and do the same thing the next day. So it's real simple, but also can be quite complex depending on the user and what they're trying to accomplish with CoolTrade. So just scrolling through these real quick for you guys, and you can pause this at any given time. So actually, I'm going to explain this real quick. This strategy right here, conservative long strategy. This is one of the founder and man who programmed CoolTrade, Ed Barsano, one of his favorites, and it's got some cool features in it. There's a trend following aspect to it where these stocks are all trending one direction versus another. The simple moving averages dictate an upward trend in this strategy. It's got a volume. Volume is greater than 250,000 shares yesterday over a 10-day period, 20, 30, 50, and 5-day period. And the reason you'd add a rule like, a set of rules like that, and it's just so there's some normalcy in these stocks. It has an average true range greater than 3%. So that means a stock from its high price to its low price each day moves more than 3%. And if you know much about the market, you want stocks that are moving around so you have a chance of executing trades. You're only going to make money when you're executing trades, so if the stocks aren't moving, you don't want to be in those positions. Percent of stocks up in all sectors is greater than percent of stocks down in all sectors. You don't want to go long when the overall market's dropping in value. Dow, today's Dow move is greater than zero. Same thing, you don't want to go long when the market overall is negative. E-mini consecutive minutes up is greater than zero. The E-mini is a big indicator as far as futures traders are concerned, and if that's up, throughout the day, that's a good indication that it's a good time to buy. Institutional ownership is greater than 10%, and you don't want to buy if the institutions don't want these stocks. The only way they make money is to move these prices. If they're not in these stocks, the prices don't move as much. They hold 90% of the stocks or so in the market. A few more simple moving average numbers. The 10-day simple moving average is at least 75 cents greater than the 20-day simple moving average. The 10-day is at least 35 cents greater than the 20-day. That rule shouldn't be in there if the 75 is there, but no big deal. If there's a rule that says the same thing with a different value, it's going to take the higher value in this case. So if you have an extra rule, not a big deal whatsoever. Unless you're really looking for 35, for it to be 35, that 75 would affect you because it's going to eliminate certain trades from occurring that would otherwise occur. And yesterday's close price is greater than $2 and less than 40. So this is only going to buy stocks between $2 and $40. And then here are a number of more price-related indicators. Today's current price is at least 25 cents less than the highest price during the previous 30 days. So even though the trend is upwards in this strategy, you're not buying at the absolute top. And then total number of bullish indicators is at least $2 greater than the total number of bearish indicators. And this is an indicator I really like because it looks at a number of indicators that are based on technical analysis, and you don't have to be an expert in these like you would if you're one of the people looking at a bunch of charts, day trading, for example. It looks at them all. It compares the numbers for each indicator, and it'll either give it a bullish, bearish, or neutral profile. And the more stocks that meet the bullish criteria in those indicators, the stronger and more likely that trend is to go that direction. So just like the open position rules, the add to current position rules are very similar. One additional rule right here, though, is the Dow move since you initially opened, and that can be that can be a solid rule to add to this. A lot of the times people will add based on if their stock has lost or gained a certain amount of value. It just really depends on your way of thinking about the market. And as you see here, you can add based on one of these indicators being in effect or all of them. So it's really up to the user. Exit rules. You can exit just based on your profit goals, which you'll see here, and I'll go over those in just a sec. Or perhaps some indicators will determine your exit. So you might want to exit because it appears the market overall is starting to trend negative, and it had been positive the indicators in here are showing you that things are likely turning for the worse. Well, you can create exit rules with that criteria in mind, or you can just leave that blank and just simply trade based on profit goals. So 10% is a profit goal here. There's 5% profit protection and a 0.5% pullback. And what this means, the profit protection, if the stock moves 5% profitably and then reverses instantly, it's going to lock that 5% in and execute a trade. If it goes up over 5%, it's going to keep trying to reach that 10% profit goal. Well, once 10% hits, it's not gonna trade until there's been a 0.5% pullback. So if it goes up to 10 and then immediately starts going negative, it's going to close out at 9.5%. If it goes up to 12, it's going to close out at 11.5%. And this allows you to maximize profits, unlike a limit order with a regular broker, where you're going to buy it. Maybe the price at the given time is 42. Well, you place a limit order with your broker. Say, I want to buy the stock if it drops to 40, and then I'm going to sell if it goes up to 44. Well, you're going to sell it exactly 44 using that conventional method. With CoolTrade, you can take way more money off the table if things keep going favorably for you. So that's a cool aspect of that profit goal feature, and it really helps you to maximize your profit potential. And then you got your stop losses. This strategy doesn't use stop losses. It adds on a 10% drops. So to actually eliminate the stop loss feature, we have this set at $300. We're only buying stocks between 2 and 40, so 300 negates that. Same with the trailing stop. Then the re-entry pullback, stocks have to move by at least 25 cents for it to get back in that position after a trade's executed. So hope you found that informative. CoolTrade really is very, very user-friendly. For some of you, that might have been kind of over your head. However, it really is as simple as downloading the software, picking a strategy that's available on the CoolTrade website, and CoolTrade will do the rest. Editing these pre-existing strategies is simple. Just a couple buttons, everything's point and click. You determine you want to add a new rule. It's as simple as clicking on it, typing in some numbers, and then clicking add rule there. Really couldn't get any easier. So, yeah, I hope you guys found that informative. And if you want to learn anything else about CoolTrade, got any questions at all, please visit autostocktrading.com. Once again, that's autostocktrading.com.